After accidentally entering an ice cream parlor, SlenderMan scared everyone inside. Then he ordered ice cream to go. On his incredible cool rainbow cycle, he rode into the forest to feed the Persian kittens. The ice cream parlor had to go clean his underwear, so SlenderMan had to wait for 2 hours. Then, the then-thens emptied out of the crate bot, and one of them bumped into Slenderman. Slenderman wrangled that then. Then he wrangled a few more before they went back on the crate bot and blasted off. This is already amazing. The insane clown posse, meanwhile, caught wind of Slenderman and wanted to prove they weren't scared. By chasing him in the Koopa Clown cart, they stole from Bowser. But then Dant Rambo stopped them. But it wasn't really Dant Rambo. It was Slenderman wearing a Dant Rambo mask. He does that. And then he got some more ice cream and went to the forest to finally feed those Persian kittens. And then went to go get some more ice cream and some cake. Made 360 degrees and walked away. The cake went to Burger King and ate Commander Video. Meaty. Commander Video would not stand for this and shot lasers out of his eye or stripe. The laser simply shot through Slenderman and he proceeded to give chase to Commander Video. Commander Video was now in his ultra state, so Slenderman started to dance while chasing him, making him slowly fall behind. Then the commander entered his extra state, which gave Slenderman a seizure. Then Slenderman saw that Earthbound was available in the eShop and fainted. Commander Video picked Slendy back up and bought it for him. Slendy thanked him and gave him a hat. CV went on his way, when all of a sudden the Mingron Timbletot appeared. Commander Video ate Slender. Mudnik was sleeping in the river, but they all knew that another character was joining the story, Megan. And Megan was sucked into a black hole from which there was no return. Meanwhile, Commander Video was hungry. But Mr. Miyamoto, being the wonderfully nice guy he is, pulled Megan out of the black hole. Zelda was feeding the hungry, like she was talking about in the last story time. So she feed Commander Video. After that, they found themselves falling out of space because the Slenderman stopped zero gravity, so they fell to Earth and turned flat. They awoke to realize they were in Paper Mario World, and they found some ice cream to eat. But then the ice cream became a giant monster. Then the Timbletot returned with an angry red Demo Man and shot a red Pikmin at CV. Dodging it with a giant orange paddle, CV picked it up and ate it, then fired a beam out of his visor at Timbletot. Suddenly, beams of light struck everyone and turned them into two-dimensional creatures made out of paper. Then CV jumped on the Timbletot's head while getting hit with a shot from the loose cannon, bouncing him onto a pirate ship full of heavy weapons guys. Also, everyone became 3D again. Then the ice cream monster makes a big meteor that destroys the world. Fun fact, the ice cream monster worked for 3 years so he could get enough money to be 3D. Anyway, CV ate the monster, who then got eaten again by Slenderman inside TV. Seeing this, Alex Noisy drank some fine wine and dressed up in his finest tux to play football with Kyler Gabler.
Kyler!
Then he sang an opera version of Rock Lobster at his local Denny's, riding an otter seductively. 2 hours later, he gained more superpowers like typing with boxing gloves on. And then the family party bear appeared with the new age retro hippie from Earthbound. Noisy then put a mini sentry on his head and exploded because of a Demo Man. Meanwhile, Charles Martinet was sitting at home when all of a sudden he got a letter claiming that he must save a princess. The princess was Princess Burnland. Then Super Smash Bros. 4080p was announced. A villainous mushroom named the Entity burst out of the display, revealing he kidnapped the princess as he made a hasty retreat to his flying fortress. Martinet decided to follow him. The Entity's flying fortress was the Crade Bot. Mr. Martinet walked in and saw Ruben, Commander Audio, and the Then-Thens kidnapping Sweet Cows and Kitty Paws. Then he grabbed a fire flower and they burned. But his fortress want Cradebot because an engineer retconned him out of using a ravenous spy. Martinet ran to the real fortress and ascended the tower. But then it randomly blew up and everyone got sent to Africa, where Timbletot and Goku participated in a gum-chewing contest. But then it randomly blew up and everyone got sent to Africa, where Timbletot and Goku participated in a gum-chewing contest. Charles Martinet then fought the Entity in a long and grueling final boss. Finally defeating him, he rescued the princess, who was actually Coach Z in drag. Didn't expect that, did you? You did? Aw! And Nick asked Sweet Cows to stop using Mudnik in the story. It was Nick's own character. Noisy respawned in one of the resupply rooms of C2F_2 Fort. A friendly heavy taught him the art of throwing toolboxes onto the ground, and Alex put on his emergency engineer costume. But then the story went back to Africa because the storyteller skipped that part for some reason. Charles and Z went to get a cold one, but Coach slipped on a sleeping Ellis, who then said, "I love horses." Then Z became a red Pikmin because of reality on fusion beams. The story god sent the other storytellers into the void, but one lucky Lifeshroom escaped via a return pipe and defeated the story god using a mini sentry because they are overpowered. Meanwhile, on 2 Fort, Noisy built a sentry gun in the hotel room. The story god was fine being defeated because now the storytellers actually continue the story instead of going randomly places like a TF2 fort at random times. Then out of nowhere, a surge of scouts came in, but Noisy Sentry killed them all. And then Ruben came back from his 2-month vacation and started storytelling again. But that happened in the dream world of Super Mario Bros. 2. So then the story guide shifted back to Team Fortress. A friendly medic told Alex to build a dispenser, so he did. But then the medic undisguised himself because he was a spy. However, he was too dumb to sap the sentry and to turn him into a ragdoll.
Yeah.
But the story guide had no knowledge of TF, so he just left the story. Charles Martinet landed in the red courtyard. Just as Noisy went to scan the area for incoming heavies, he found Martinet unconscious on the ground and placed him next to the dispenser to heal him. But it turns out Martinet was actually a robot in disguise. His true self was revealed when Noisy used the dispenser. Robot Martinet attacked Noisy, leaving him unconscious. Dr. Fetus noticed Noisy was in trouble and then killed Robo Martinet with his unicycle. The real Charles walked in holding a fire flower like a flamethrower with a red Pikmin by his side. But Slender teleported behind him and said, "I want tacos."
This is the best story so far.
The Pikmin yelled Devastation Nation and C2F_2 Fort exploded. It was a 0-0 stalemate because everyone else was playing Sniper. And now back to Lifestyles of Commander Video and Friends. Isaac appeared right in front of CV and had tears running down his face, looking rather terrified because Slender number 2 was near. Then Ethan wondered why no one is saying much. Slenderman then executed Ethan with quotes femur because he was sick of his name being butchered. Then removed the 2 from his suit. Then Ethan touched Slender and he flew 100 miles away. With star power, he turned everyone into snowboarders. 100,000. But then Ethan woke up. Commander Video, Dr. Fetus, and Slenderman were going to kill him for double posting. Blood flew everywhere as Nathan Explosion watched from Mordhouse. The snowboarders turned into Slenderman-like tingles. Suddenly, a giant snowflake of some sort appeared out of nowhere and called out, "Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is the best video game ever made." And the fight began to get worse. But Ethan never dies because of an explosion because he is from Krypton. The Great Deku Tree had an angry backlash to do with the compliment said about PNB. Meanwhile, on the Cradebot, Sweet Cow said, "Hey, Kitty Paws, we have to get out of here." And then Kitty Paws said, "I have no idea. We should find the Cradebot's engine and destroy it to take the..." Slenderman roasted a turkey and summoned Curly special marinade and served it to his 2 partners in reality refusion with the side of Uncle Dills and Schlortz. Slender scared the Great Deku Tree, forcing Cradebot to blow up the world. Suddenly, super sad music that sounded like the ending theme from PMD played in the sky as everyone began to cry. And the story got back on track. CV and friends ate their meal happily. Then a surge of Demo Man robots arrived to the Supernature and our trio had to defend against them. The Demo Man robots made Slender do push-ups and made the Great Deku Tree fall over. Meanwhile, the Oids joined the Demo Man robots. Then Iowa Jack decided he didn't want any of that and whipped them to death. Quote decided to join in and missiled himself into the midst of the army, and then blew them to bits. Suddenly, Space Harrier Dude came out of nowhere and began to help Commander Video and his friends, until he ran into one of the demo bots by mistake, yelling a very badly digitalized, "Ah!" CV facepalmed to Sunday, walking up to one of the demo bots and punched him with his newly muscled body. The Olds polluted the sea. Meanwhile, the demo bots were in jail. The sea pollutants were vacuumed up by Dr. Robotnik, allowing CV and friends passage to the Timbletot's lair. That was the jail the Demobots were in. The Mingron Timbletot had taken over the jail and used the Demobots as an army. A giant Demobot walked in and, quote, peed himself out of fear. CV took his missile launcher and opened fire. Meanwhile, the meteor that the ice cream monster made crashed into Earth, then turned the world into ice cream. But the meteor's effects are reversed by a mini-sentry. CV takes down the giant Demobot and his friends, and, quotes, new pants, ran into the prison with CV. Then they had tacos, but didn't realize that they were poisonous. Thankfully, the poison was fake, but Iowa Jack got beaten to death by hungry Pikmin. Commander Video marched onward and wound up in a boss fight with Commander Audio. The battle was a fierce one. They were neck and neck, but suddenly Commander Audio was stabbed to death by an invisible being. The invisible being was Invisible Commander Video. Invisible CV then went back to fighting demons in hell. CV and compadres ran through some scout robots and found the Timbletot's boss room. Timbletot was playing the character select music from 1080 Snowboarding off his boombox. He then grew a tree for use to defeat everyone. Meanwhile, Sweet Kaz and Kitty Paws sneaked into the Cradebot's engine room, and they stabbed their axes in the main engine. An alarm sounded, and they both had to escape. They ran out of the room, and the engine exploded. But Cradebot was retconned by the Engie, or Engie, I have no idea. So nothing actually happened. The Timbletot then revealed his new machine, Ridleybot. Dr. Fetus used his remote to summon Fantoonbot to fight Ridleybot. Then Samus's gunship came, and she shot Cradebot, Ridleybot, and Fantoonbot. Since the Cradebot's engine was destroyed, it exploded easily. Sweet Cause and Kitty Paws, being chased by Ruben, jumped out of the Cradebot, Ruben following, and Ruben bumped into Dr. Fetus, knocking him off his unicycle. Then the Cradebot was removed from existence, utterly and entirely. Sweet Cause, Reuben, and Kitty Paws were then given the same fate. Then the Templetot died from black holes double posting. Now they were all floating in space. Sweet Cause and Kitty Paws floated their way to Samus's gunship. They descended in while Samus was still shooting Ridleybot and Phantoonbot. Sweet Cause and Kitty Paws were erased again because Black Hole doesn't know the meaning of forever, and Ridleybot was nommed by a giant heavy. Dr. Fetus did a victory dance with CV Slendy and quote, "Hey weirdo, why do you have to erase random characters? Because I'm crazy, and I get a quarter every time I kill off or remove a character." Kills off Reverse Merman. What weirdo means by erased is that Sweet Cause, Kitty Paws, and Reuben were sent to Universe 666 to get... But Samus and the gunships are still there trying to get Phantoonbot and Ridleybot to obliterate. But Ridleybot was dead, so she's trying to assault CV and Buddy's Phantoonbot. Slendy teleported onto the gunship and punched Samus in the face, distracting her long enough for the others to escape. Meanwhile, Reuben apologizes for being dangerous, and he is going to help Sweet Cause and Kitty Paws find a way out of 666, but not before he gets a taco. But they failed to escape, and that wily old robot devil sang them a song about their misfortunes. Meanwhile, in the actual storyline, Slendy sacrificed himself to save his friends from Samus's wrath. Actually, they didn't escape on the first try, so they tried to think of other escape ideas. Reuben thought of pixelating them to the area where Phantoonbot was. This time it worked. They got nabbed by Satan, except for Reuben because he had a dead ringer. Commander Video told Dr. Fetus to set sights on PNF-404. Meanwhile, in far-off land, Entity started plotting to be a dictator. Then Reuben made 2 copies of his dead ringer so Sweet Cause and Kitty Paws could get out of Universe 666. Meanwhile, Samus was inside Phantoonbot to damage it from the inside. But Satan still caught then because Reuben was tired of them, and thus their DRs did nothing. Reuben then joined CV's team as they went to PNF-404. Sweet Cause and Kitty Paws said, "Help, get us out of here." Then SLENDERMAN came in and defeated Satan. They then had to get out of Universe 666 before Satan comes back. They went through the portal the SLENDERMAN came out of. Slendy then stuffed them back in. Then got hit by a bus. No reincarnations unless it's Dr. Bright. Why does Weirdo not make the story make sense? But the bus was made out of teleportation marshmallows. Ethan is somewhere else in the world minding his own business. But he was banned. Meanwhile, Gaijin HQ, Alex Noisy looked through the fridge and found a distinct lack of cake. SLENDERMAN reached into the portal and pulled Sweet Cause and Kitty Paws back out. Then Samus destroyed Phantoonbot, got back in the gunship, and drove back down to Earth, followed by Dr. Fetus and his unicycle. Ethan made a new account, and he's an angel, never dies. But then, SC, KP, Slendy, and Reuben were banned by Gabe. Oh, and CV held tight to Quote, who was somehow holding Curly above his head. Then they all had a dance party at Gaijin HQ. This is unfair. Weirdo is making the story even less sense now. Then Samus came in and shot a bomb at Gabe, making him dizzy, and Samus brought everyone home. To Paris to have a dance party. Like it even made any to begin with. Uncle Dill moonwalked into the room and started selling pickles to everyone. Now wait a minute, why would they go to Paris? Because they live there. Meanwhile, Commander Video and Dr. Fetus landed in the city, except when Dr. Fetus landed, he shot across the road, bouncing off a building, spun in circles, and stopped. Meanwhile, Mingron Timbletop came back to life and warped to where Commander Video was, but then, quote, smashed into the street in front of Commander Video wearing only his briefs because of his spectacular failure of an atmospheric reentry. The Timbletot, having evaded Valve anti-cheat, threw a sentry gun's rocket launcher at CV's head. A few minutes later, Samus, Sweet Cause, Kitty Paws, Reuben, and SLENDERMAN came back from Paris. And Ethan flew down from the heavens to join them. But then they were VIC banned until Half-Life 3 comes out. Meanwhile, Dr. Fetus saw the Timbletot and pulled out his rocket launcher. The rocket launcher made a direct hit. Then Mingron says, "You win this time, but I'll be back next story time, ha ha ha," and Mingron flew off. But there were still 2 questions. Where can CV, quote, find some new clothing? And with the entity's new scheme, will our heroic commander, Fetus, and Recon robots save the day again? Find out on another exciting episode of Storytime, LOL. But then Dan Rambo reversed the episode back to the prison, LOL. But he didn't, though. Meanwhile, back on Dr. Fetus' ship, Commander Video was playing Runner 2 eating a burger mouth burger. But the burger said Slender was watching, but CV remembered burgers can't speak unless they're wet fart cheeseburger, and he was perfectly alive. Then CV decided to make everyone play Runner 2.2225. The world then exploded. Uncle Dill and Commander Video escaped with Meg and then went to Candyland. Unfortunately, Uncle Dill got hungry and ate everything in Candyland, including himself. The old turned up at Candyland. Sadly, UD couldn't eat them because he ate himself. But then CV woke up. He had passed out playing Runner 2 again. Dr. Fetus handed him a plate of pancakes. A coconut fell on CV's head, and Raz walked into the room. Then the world exploded. Commander Video said Earth already exploded. Megan got out her lipstick, laser, and electrocuted Reuben. Everyone died and went to the underworld. "Oh great, we're dead now," said Megan. She hit Grim Reaper in the face, but Sweet Cause hit him too. The ending must make sense. The end.